Welcome back to The Price of Business. I'm your host, Kevin Price, talking to you about you and your business. I've got Chris Versace on the program, and we're going to talk a little bit about what's going on out there in the front of Hillsdale College's participation in a big event coming up, and plus a lot of other things. In fact, I'm trying to even remember. Chris Versace, you also talk about financial topics. Is that what we're focusing on today?
I think that's the case.
Yeah.
Today is, what we're seeing this week is a deluge of earnings, more than 1,100 companies reporting their results. And so far, Kevin, I have to say it looks like a mixed bag.
Yeah. So tell me about the Power Trends.
Well, Power Trends is my investment newsletter, Power Trend Profits. And what I try to do is use the intersection of economics, demographics, psychographics, and some other things to really identify winning companies that my subscribers can invest in and hopefully make a ton of profits.
Hopefully, at least a ton. Hey, so tell me about the most recent economic news and what it means to you.
I'm sorry, Kevin.
The most recent economic news that you're evaluating and what it means to you.
Sure. So right now, one of the things I'm watching is the strength in the manufacturing economy. We do have a very good rebound in the housing market, the automotive industry, and some other areas. But if we look around the globe, we're seeing slowdown in China that's really starting to ripple through. We've got weakness in Europe, and that concerns me a little bit. We've also got record unemployment that has come down somewhat, but for all the wrong reasons. And my concern with that is what all that means for the consumer, who's also battling high gas prices and rising food prices.
Tell me, when you say for all the wrong reasons, why do you say it's all for all wrong reasons that unemployment gone down? I mean, the reality is unemployment really hasn't gone down. The number of people who no longer consider themselves employable is at a level that we've never seen since the Great Depression. 65 or 66% are no longer. Only 65 or 66% are still looking of the unemployed. Is that what you mean? Is that real unemployment is actually still a disaster?
Yeah, well, I guess what I mean, Kevin, is if we look at the official government statistics, you do see a decline in the unemployment rate. But again, it's for all the wrong reasons. We have more people dropping out of the labor force than are actually getting jobs. And to me, that just speaks volumes as to how the president does not understand what it means to get the economy back on its feet and drive a vibrant middle class.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, talking about what's happening out there on the business front and on the fact that this economy remains very stagnant. It seems to me, though, business activity is popping again. There's no plausible explanation for it. I'm speaking anecdotally in what I see in my own business world. I'm wondering, because of the great entrepreneurial spirit that makes this country great, is making people just say, hey, I still got to make a living. I didn't get rich in the last 4 years. If anything, I got poor protesting the horrible economic policies coming from this government. I just got to go out there and make a living. Are we getting used to a new normal that's pretty disgusting to get used to?
Yeah, I just have to go back to my comment earlier about the president, Kevin, who, when we look at Obamacare and the incremental costs on small businesses, we just saw Regal Cinema, one of the largest movie chains that employs hundreds of thousands of people, actually cut hours because of the incremental cost of Obamacare. And then now this week we find out that the president is in favor of taxing online retailers. And what I mean by that is they want them all of a sudden to bear the burden of paying state and local taxes. It's just another cost to business.
Yeah, people have wondered why the internet has grown exponentially and has become the incredibly powerful economic vehicle that it is. It's because it's been largely, if not almost entirely, untouched by the government.
Well, I think there's that. I also think that it's very vibrant. I mean, you can compare costs, you can wrangle deals, you can do a lot of things that is actually very good for the consumer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no question about it. And but I still think that untouched nature of it is rather huge. And I don't think people are putting together the consequences if the federal government forces the internet businesses to comply with state tax laws. A lot of those businesses will go out of business just because of the enforcement requirements.
Well, look, Kevin, you and I both know that any time the government gets involved in the private sector, nothing good is going to happen.
Nothing. Absolutely nothing. And that pretty much is the theme of this whole administration for the last several years, that government is the primary solution to most of our problems, is kind of what you're hearing from Washington, D.C. And the more we get their answers, the worse things become.
Well, exactly right. Is there any reason, despite billions of dollars in stimulus and other things that have been tried to jumpstart the economy, we continue to sputter around 2% growth?
Yeah, and I would think that, now that we now have another factor that has played a huge role in the stagnation of economies around the world. Once a debt of a nation reaches the same size as the GDP, now our debt is a little bigger than our GDP. I don't know of any country that has gotten more than 1.5% or 2% growth once that happens. Do you know of examples?
No, I don't. In
yeah.
fact, the last time we really talked about a country that had a debt to GDP of 105% or higher, that country was Greece.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And we all know where that led.
Right. And people wonder what happened to Japan. It was hard to find news stories up until the mid-1990 about business stories, international business stories, without them including the incredible Japanese miracle, the incredible economic growth of Japan. Then we heard about this thing called the silent generation of Japan, where they essentially fell off of the face of the earth when it came to being economic power. They're now lagging behind China in this arena. And it's interesting how that period began exactly the same time they reached 100% of their deficit, reaching 100% of their GDP. Now it's 2-1.
Yeah, I mean, there are ample examples, Kevin. And, unfortunately, if we don't correct our course, we will be yet the latest example.
Yep, no question about it. Chris, what's your email? How do we get more information?
Well, a couple things. One, you can go to chrisversace.com. That's CHRIS, V as in Victor, ERSACE.com. All my stuff is there. Powertrend Profits, Powertrend Brief. You can follow me on Forbes or even follow me on Twitter @_ Chris Versace.
All right, and give that one more time, the website.
Oh, chrisversace.com, just CHRIS, V as in Victor, ERSACE.com.
A lot of fun. Thanks for being with us.
Thanks, Kevin.
All right. I hope everyone out there has a great rest of the day. I do want to remind you, the show continues 24/7 at priceofbusiness.com. Great audio, video, articles, and more. While you're there, like it on Facebook. Follow it on Twitter. Also, don't forget our good friends over at usdailyreview.com, our sister news website. While you're there, like it on Facebook, follow it on Twitter. Have a great rest of your day. I hope you spend it right here on this great station.